Hey guys, welcome back to We Watch Movie. I'm Mike, he's Jay, Terminator, Genisys, spoiler review. If you haven't seen the movie, here we are.
That's the
reviewing Terminator. This movie's getting hate from everywhere, all across the board, all over the place from people. And first off, we're just going to start with our thoughts on it. Jay?
Okay, there's no doubt. There's a lot of like Hallmark love letters to the fans in this film. They recreate the scenes from like Terminator 1 and Terminator 2, like as far as like sending Kyle Reese back in time and just the whole freaking thing. Special effects they used for Arnold to send him back to 1984. It all literally frame by frame, even the garbage truck and the guy getting out like, what the hell? Like all that stuff is like literally frame. It looks so fucking good, and that's like a thank you. I thought the storytelling and the script wasn't as structured or as, you know, centered as it should have been in a lot of the film. Those plot holes or something like that. Sometimes it felt like Eurasian Bolt wrote this fucking movie. He's the runner. Sometimes like, oh my god, here we go. Okay, done.
I didn't expect a lot from it because of what I've been hearing, so maybe that helps me a little bit. But I actually sat through this 2-hour and 6-minute movie or whatever and enjoyed 90% of it. I know, if you get deep into it and you look at this plot hole and that plot hole and the timeline and the John Connor thing and you really pick it apart, upon further viewing, I can probably look at it and say, that doesn't make sense. The way I look at it is, it's like a cake. If you get past the frosting's delicious, but if you actually look a little bit deeper into it, that cake's going to be filled with maggots and dirty shit, and I know that.
You got it from Walmart Bakery, didn't you?
but watching it for the first time, just sitting back, enjoying a Terminator movie with Arnold, with fun, with some throwbacks to the first 2 movies, I had fun watching this movie. I didn't care that much. Does it touch 1 or 2? No, it's not even close.
God, no.
It's not even close, but to me, it does beat 3, and it does beat Salvation, and I had fun watching it. Like from the start of the movie, okay, it's a spoiler review, so Terminator Genisys starts, and Genisys is this computer program where everybody's obsessed with their phones, their computers and stuff now.
That's actually
basically it's going to be this great, amazing app, and it's called Genisys, and it's got a timeline before it updates, and everything's going to be connected. You know, all the shit's going to be connected. Yeah. I always hate when they try to force feed new technology into movies just to be like, hey, we have iPhones now. But
well, I think that was actually poking fun at the how America is right now.
Yeah, and it was, and that's fine or whatever. But so you go into that, and then we're at current date right now. So the war's happened. Skynet's gone live. That looked badass. They showed this big world-ending thing in just a couple of minutes. You see Skynet go live, and everything get fucked up. And then they show the Resistance currently. They're at the end of it. We're gonna go. We have this one last thing to do, and we're gonna crush it, and then the war's gonna be over. But they do have a secret weapon beneath, and it's this time travel machine, which is where Arnold's character is going to go back in time to kill John Connor. So that stuff happens, and then you go back, and now we're back to Terminator 1. Yeah. Only Jai Courtney is playing Kyle Reese, which, first off, I want to say about him, when they said he was going to be Kyle Reese, I freaking hated it. I said that guy's got less charisma than a paper bag does. And there was moments in this where he didn't seem like Kyle Reese would have been to me. He was a little bit whiny. But I gotta say, Jai Courtney impressed me. I actually liked his character in this movie. They could have written his character a little bit better where he wasn't so whiny and he was a little tougher, like Michael Biehn was. But overall, like the charisma, just the way he was, I thought Jai Courtney did a pretty damn good job.
I think the problem with Jai Courtney and Emilia Clarke in some of these scenes, Emilia Clarke plays Sarah Connor, by the way. I think that it wasn't the fact that they didn't inhabit those roles in a way that they should have inhabited them. I think it was just the dialogue, the way it was written in the script. That it didn't come off like no. If you had Mel fucking Gibson in that scene, he wouldn't be able to pull off the emotional impact that you need.
Some of the lines were not. Yeah, they were not up to par, and they weren't up to par with Terminator 1 and Terminator 2. Were they up to par with the summer fun Terminator movie? Yeah, they were. I mean, they were kind of fun, and I enjoyed that. And her as Sarah Connor, she doesn't touch the toughness and the way that she was in that original movie, but I actually really liked her in that role. And that may be because she's one of the hottest people I've ever seen in my life. Oh my god, yeah, she's hot. Every time she says something, I'm just like, those damn lips, though!
She just didn't have the, I guess, the edgy part.
Well, here's the thing. When they tried to make her Linda Hamilton, and they had her say the lines like soldier and stuff like that, it didn't work. But when she kind of came into her own as the character, it did work. John Connor, obviously, what happens is it turns out that was supposed to be the big spoiler of the movie, but they ruined it in the trailer. John Connor is touched by an angel. He's touched by Doctor Who, and he becomes like obsessed with Skynet because his brain's all scrambled, and he's this new future Terminator type thing, and it's all this crazy shit going on, and we'll get into all that. But when he comes back, that's one thing about the movie I didn't like. I don't like thinking about John Connor as a bad guy.
I don't either. Go back to 1984, it really recreates the whole fucking scene. Arnold, you know, on his knees, coming up, big chest, what's up? And he's walking, and it looks great. And he finds the punks in the street, just like in the first one. And then all of a sudden, you have old Arnold coming. I've been waiting for it. They have this big battle scene. I actually liked that.
I had a hard time not cheering. I was so pumped up there. I was like, yes!
And then when Kyle Reese goes back, while Kyle Reese is in the time machine, he sees another like Terminator, he thinks, grab John Connor and do something to his face, like trying to infect him with something, and he's like screaming no. But once that happens, it creates like a parallel 1984, and he goes back. It's like, you know, Back to the Future 2 when they try to bet on the gambling and it creates a different timeline. That's what happens. So when he goes back, it's not the same 1984 that it should have been, it's a different one. So when he gets there, it's pretty much recreating the scene again, but this time T-1000 shows up in his police car and starts chasing him. That was a great scene, but Linda Hamilton and the old Arnold somehow figure out, they already know they've laid a trap for him. Yeah. They've laid a trap for the old Terminator, because the old Terminator beats the shit out of the 1984 Terminator, which is badass. Yeah. She shoots him with a sniper rifle, blows his shit up, and then with the, I didn't even think about that, it was so cool, at T-1000 when they get him into like their little trap area, like the acid. Like, the acid. They have acid pour on top of him, and you know, Arnold holds him out until he fucking dissolves. It felt like Saul. That little game. But that was so cool. The only thing is, like after that goes on though, then it's like Linda, and I almost said Linda Hamilton, Emilia Clarke's Sarah Connor and Arnold Schwarzenegger, they already know everything that's going to happen. Yeah. You know, she knows that she's got to have sex with Kyle Reese to make John Connor in the future, which is, oh no, I've gone crossed in my eyes. But it's like all this stuff's going on, and they somehow created a time machine, but they needed the chip from the first Terminator that they knew was coming back. Holy fuck, do you see what I'm saying?
It's crazy. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. When you delve past the frosting of this movie, like when you're watching it, it's like Arnold versus Arnold. You got this cool-ass new Arnold Schwarzenegger character who... Arnold was great in this movie. Arnold was amazing in this movie. I don't think he gets enough credit. I'll go see a movie just because Arnold's in it. And not only that, you've got a Terminator storyline that's going on, but Arnold's character was amazing on top of him. That guy's, I mean, I think he's just underrated as an actor, dude. I think he can pull off a lot of different things that people don't
especially now.
For. And this, and Terminator is Arnold's best role. So when I saw this movie, a reason that I didn't think it was going to be that great was I thought that Arnold was going to have a subpar role in it. I thought he was just going to be an extra. Hey, look, it's Arnold Schwarzenegger. Then he jumps. I kind of thought that when he jumps out of the plane and says, "I'll be back," that's going to be the end of him. But the movie centralized around him. He's a huge part of the movie, and that I love.
I think they try to capture what Cameron did with his action sequences, and like it's just fun explosions, fucking Arnold saying badass lines, and that's what they want to do. Maybe they didn't do a great job with the story, and I agree with that. I don't think the story was nearly up to par what it should have been. It could have been a great story.
Yeah, the whole John Connor coming back, I hate it. I don't like it.
And I don't mind the guy that played John Connor necessarily, but when he comes back and now he's the defender of Skynet, and he's like got a one scene where he's like touching the hand, he's like, I will never let anything happen to you. I'm like,
yeah, I didn't.
It's like roll eyes.
And his intentions, and not just that, but the fact that at one point they're like, you can't kill us because we're your fucking parents. If you kill us, then you don't exist. And he's like, let the dice roll, it's fate. I mean, and I'm like, you can't just throw that under the rug and pretend it doesn't exist.
And they explain that, like, so they can jump forward in time. Sarah Connor and John Connor Sarah Connor and Kyle Reese jump forward to 2017 because when John Connor, I keep on saying John Connor, when Kyle Reese goes back in time to the parallel 84, he has new memories that realize the Judgment Day is now in 2017, not 1997, which everybody thought it was going to be. So then they jump forward to 2017, and you know, the entire time he's whining about Arnold. He's like, he's got ulterior motives. He's a machine.
Like that.
He's a machine. They go together, okay? Sarah Connor and Kyle Reese get in the time stream together. Why the fuck are they together? Because they always acted like, I'm saying, like, how can you send two people at once back in time? Because they always act like you can only send one person back in time.
I don't know. That's the kind of thing, though. I mean, if you focus on that while you're watching the movie, you're going to walk and go, I fucking hated this piece of shit.
I'm just saying, like, if you look at it, though, like, if that was the case, Skynet would have sent, like, 18 Terminators. They would have sent a whole fucking army back to 1984. They'd have sent everybody back to 1984. Maybe they didn't have time, but they would at least sent 2 Terminators back.
And that's true. I mean, that's what I'm saying. If you start to think, if you really get past the frosting, I've said it 8 times, but if you start to think, it'll ruin the movie for you. But if you just let the movie, you know, be like, this is a fun to me, it's not a legit, serious Terminator sequel to T2. And I didn't expect it to be. But it's better than 3 and 4, and it's just a fun play on the Terminator series. It looks like a fan of T1 and T2 made a movie, and I'm all right with that.
But I mean, I wanted to be the...
I didn't expect it.
I know, but I wanted to be that way. But I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just telling you why I'm right.
I get it. I'm in the minority because I walked out of this and I was like, that was a good time.
No, I'm not.
And everybody I see that's seen this is like, that was a piece of shit. I hated it. And it's whatever. And it's one of those movies where I think maybe when I watch it again and look back on it, I'll notice a lot more that made me mad.
You know what I would say?
I just had fun.
Do you remember when you walked out? I wasn't with you, but when you walked out to see Halloween 2 Rob Zombie, you liked it.
I know. That's your kryptonite. That's a stain on my underwear. But I did. I watched H2 and I was so just like confused and my brain was so warped. I was like, that was a good movie. And then I watched it again and I was like, what the fuck? fuck is wrong with me? I don't think that that's the case here. I don't think it's gonna be that bad. But I gotta say, I just love that Arnold was in it a bunch. I loved his character. I loved his new aging character.
Yeah.
I like the story behind him. I like that he was. You can pick that apart too. But his relationship with Sarah Connor, where he was so much more humanistic, I thought was fucking amazing.
It was okay. I just didn't like. I didn't like the fact that she called him Pops.
I hated that.
I was so fucking terrible.
Don't you call Terminator Pops, dude?
And then he was like, take care of my Sarah.
That was that was good.
I hated that.
I liked
Come on.
that. Arnold always has reminded me of my dad because he's part German. So Arnold, I've always looked at him like a dad figure to me. Like growing up, I mean, Arnold Schwarzenegger's always been a dad figure to me.
So when you asked your dad for like $5, like fuck off, asshole.
Yeah. And him and that fatherdom sort of role to her was great to me.
The first Terminator was sent back in '73 to fight the T-1000 when Sarah Connor was 9 years old, and he's walking on the planks of the deck and he looks down at her. That looked fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And he has a rocket launcher. Like, I love that stuff.
There's so much cool stuff.
The emotional, yeah, like I said, the sequences and some of the way they shot it looked great.
I feel like me and the rest of the world are going to meet in the middle on this movie. So
yeah.
I feel like I'm going to watch it again and I'm going to be like, God, I hate that they did that, I hate that they did that, and stuff's going to grate at me a little bit more, and maybe I won't like it as much, but I also think that the rest of the world, as this comes out on Blu-ray and everybody starts watching it, becomes like a piece of the canon or whatever, everybody else is going to be like, you know what? It's not that bad.
Towards the end of the movie, John Connors dies, you know, they defeat him, you know, Terminator does what he has to do to kill him, and he gets knocked in the liquid shit that was basically T-1000, he gets reactivated, and now he comes back, he's like, I had an upgrade. I'm like, dude, come on.
That was touching.
Come on.
But again, that was another moment of the film where the critic in my head was like, that's bullshit. But at the same time, I was like, it's a fucking Terminator movie, that's cool. If you looked at me and said, dude, what if Arnold got the T-1000 abilities, I'd be like, that sounds badass. They didn't do it completely right.
Yeah.
They didn't execute it like with a little bit more explanation and a little bit more like, oh, that makes sense. But as just a pure popcorn fun movie, it was cool.
Yeah, but you know, the whole battle scene with John Connor and him, if you're talking emotionality, at somewhat I thought maybe John Connor would remember that Terminator in Terminator 2.
I wanted him to.
Yeah,
I wanted him to become a better guy.
And it just be like Terminator was like, you know, it wasn't the same it was a different model, but if he's looking at him, he's like, I remember you, you know, you took care of me, you trained me, you helped me. Just something there, but there was nothing there. He literally, like, you're a fucking Terminator, you're a relic from an old age.
I hated it.
So then after they kill John Connor, the time machine gets destroyed, it's 2017. Now this is when your mind goes, blech. It goes like, what's going on? You go from then to the young Kyle, or the old Kyle Reese, going to talk to the young Kyle Reese, the 13-year-old that exists in 2017, to tell him to say this thing to himself over and over. Genisys is Skynet, you have to destroy Skynet. So he has to make that prophecy come true. Then they drive off into the sunset together, and like Arnold's like, you are a good man. And they smile like, I'm like, dude, okay.
I like
and then they just drive.
joke.
I know.
Because like, I see little to recommend you.
That was early on, but I'm saying when they drive off, they're on the trucks like, now the roads are a possibility. And there are still many questions that we'll answer later. I'm like, yeah, okay, so here's the weird part. Kyle Reese, you're gonna grow up and grow old in 2017 while your 13-year-old self grows up and grows old. That's what the fuck are you doing?
I'm all about the frosting, dude.
It's a frosting.
You like the cake.
I know, but I like the cake. Is it lime or fucking lemon?
And I agree. I knew watching it, dude, if I thought about any of this for 2 seconds, I'm gonna realize that it's all a pile of duty underneath. But it was a fun fucking movie. I had fun.
It was fun.
It was cool to see Arnold. It was cool to see him in battle again. And it wasn't T1 and it wasn't T2. And the storyline is muddled as shit. It's confusing. It's got all this crazy time travel stuff. And you could pick it apart as easy as you could. I don't know. You could pick it apart very easily.
I just think that they got lost in the time travel aspect. I think that they really got lost in what they were going to do. I don't
Keep
like
it simple, stupid.
I just don't like the fact that they went back and erased Terminator 1 and 2. I would have rather than gone back and erased Terminator fucking 3.
But that's the thing. With these timelines, T6 could go back and erase T5. They're alternate timelines.
Somebody could kill a rabbit. I know that, but I would rather like.
Imagine if you could do that with Halloween.
Oh my God,
Rob Zombie shit's gone.
You stay with Dracula.
I love the fact that they actually fucking kind of, in a weird way, broke the fourth wall and went back into T1. They time traveled into a movie. You know, that was fucking cool.
I liked it. I'm just saying. I just think that they could have done better. It just felt the whole story, the script. And I know you're talking about. If I looked at it as a pure fan, I had fun. But as I'm looking at it as somebody that's trying to enjoy the story too, I didn't like the story. I just thought the story was shit burgers. But here's the thing.
I knew it would be though.
I know, but and you know what? I'll tell you this too. I think a lot what ruined this was the goddamn trailers fucking ruined a lot of the fucking great scenes in that movie. You know, like I'll be back. All that stuff. They ruined everything.
Yeah.
Like
you gotta stop that shit.
Yeah, that's terrible.
And I do want to throw out a quick nod to those Nikes though. As a kid, Terminator was one of the first movies. It was the first movie I ever bought on VHS with my own money.
I like those Nikes.
I fucking love the first Terminator movie, and I guess that's why I kind of maybe I have a soft spot for this because they do a lot more with Terminator than they do with T2.
Yeah.
I mean, they go really deep into Terminator, and I just love that. I felt like a kid again. For a few scenes there, and I gotta love that they threw some love to those Nikes because I always remember when Kyle Reese went back in time. It wasn't you see that bright light? That guy was terrible.
Yeah.
The bum sucked. He wasn't even close. But when he gets the Nikes, they showed those Nikes like 8 times, and I was like, "This is my shoes." I always wore those when I was a kid. It was weird. I don't want to see another Terminator movie without Arnold in it. I think that this movie would have been a pile of dog shit without him in it. I give this an 8.0, guys. I had a fun fucking time watching it. I can't help but give it love. I gotta be honest. If I was another parrot reviewer, I'm not saying you. I mean, I'm not saying anybody else is. But sometimes with these movies, people come out and they're like, "Oh, everybody says it sucked. I'm gonna go in knowing I'm gonna say it sucks, and then I'm gonna come out saying it sucked." And you're not a fucking movie critic if you do that. You're not fair. Now, I believe that that shit tons of people just genuinely like you did not like this movie. You just didn't like it, and they're telling the truth about it. But for me, I know I'm gonna get hate for it, but I have to be honest. Otherwise, what the fuck am I doing here? I love this movie. I liked it a lot. Even though it has a million fucking problems, I liked it.
I gave it a 6.5. I didn't hate it. I didn't fucking loathe it. I just didn't think it was up to par what it should have been, especially after they hyped it up to be something else. And maybe I did go with preconceptions, but I wanted to go in with preconceptions because I knew how good a Terminator movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger could be. But they just didn't deliver on the story. The action sequences and the visuals were great. I loved it. The cinematography was amazing. The sound effect. Oh my god, they remade the Terminator soundtrack in a way like it's more hardcore. I love that shit. The beginning of the movie with the slow kind of orchestra Terminator theme with the rockets launching was great. Great storytelling. And I thought from then on, we're in for a treat. And then it just kind of broke down because I think what the director did and the writers did, they got lost in the fucking storytelling part of it. I didn't want to walk out of the theater. Like in T3, I wanted to fucking leave. I was like, fuck this. Fuck it. You know, it's terrible. But this one, 6.5. I'm
not going to say that anybody's wrong who hated it. I just happen to like it myself. And I also want to throw some quick love to J.K. Simmons. He was fun as hell.
I love
He
J.K.
was really good at this. Our next Terminator review is going to be us ranking all of the Terminator movies together. Comment below. Let us know what you guys thought of this movie. We love you guys. Click like. Share this on your Facebook. That helps a lot. Follow me on Instagram below. Follow us on Twitter below. Click the subscribe button and get some WWAM opinions.
Right there.
We watched a movie.